Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on what time zone you're coming here from. My name is John Feland. I will be the MC host and gong operator during today's Vision Tank. And for those of you who've been here in the past, you know exactly what I'm talking about when our presenters or our judges go over as a subtle way to say, please shut your mouth. Okay, so welcome to the Vision Tank. This is a multi-year tradition here at the Embedded Vision Summit, and it's a chance for us to sort through what's amazing transformations happening in the vision industry. I remember in the early days of this, it was mostly focused on kind of image recognition. We started bringing in the AI piece, the neural networks, and started seeing things get shipped into automotive systems, and the market's been going all over the place. So every year, we look for the best startups that are pushing the envelope. It could be components, it could be entire solutions. We've had past winners. We're using 3D imaging to find and estimate car repairs and bumps and things of that sort. In the past, we've had someone with a tennis line judge win, a complete solution for tennis people trying to figure out, is it in, is it out? Which would solve a lot of marital questions that I've had lately. And this year, we had 49 applicants for the Vision Tank. And the judges have narrowed down to 5. And today we'll have a chance to hear from all 5 of those companies. Each one in their own right could win this entire thing because they've done amazing work within the space. The judges will decide one prize, and you, the audience, will you can design the prize if you want, but we actually have an incredible designer right over here, Kate, who's already done all that work for us. You will decide the other prize. We'll have an audience choice award as well. In the event of a tie, what do you think happens? Judges win. Judges always win. That's why they're judges. The first prize will go to the judges award, and the second prize will go to your second choice. Because sometimes the audience and the judges get it right. It doesn't always happen on American Idol, but it happens a lot here in the Embedded Vision Summit. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about today? I think that's about it. And I think our very first part of my job today is also keep things moving, which means I will talk less. I will give a brief little confession. In the past, you see me up here as the head of Argus Insights. I still do that on the side, but now I'm actually teaching engineering to high school students at a gifted school in San Mateo, which means I spent all day with students trying to keep them from separating digits from other digits in the shop. So this is great to talk to a room full of adults. Oh yeah, we have to do this. Okay. First up, we're going to hear from Vyrill and Dr. Barbara Rosario with an incredible solution in the space. So if we could get 3 minutes on the clock and give Barbara your attention and that overall welcoming round of applause, welcome to the Vision Tank.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Barbara Rosario, and I'm CTO and co-founder of Vyrill. I'm going to tell you how Vyrill AI can help consumer brands with user-generated videos. There is a massive amount of video content uploaded hourly online, the vast majority of which is generated by users. And their reviews, unboxing, and tutorial videos are very popular. And 70% of customers says that these videos have a huge influence on their purchase decisions. So the problem for a consumer brand is, how can I know who's talking about my brand and what are they saying inside the videos, not just in the title and descriptions like most listening tools do. So, and how do I find the best video reviews for my product? And what about my competitors? So the solution is Vyrill, of course. Vyrill is an AI platform for user-generated video content that provides video discovery, video analytics, license, and content marketing. Our products include a dashboard, daily alerts for various types of notifications, and analytic reports. So we trained AI algorithms to extract 8 lenses from the videos. With computer vision, we detect the scenes, the demographic, from which we calculate diversity of the videos, and brand safety issues. And with language algorithms, we process the transcripts of the videos to detect the topics, the most important keywords, and the most positive and most negative sentences. And we also track whether influencers or videos, when they become viral. Let me give you more concrete examples. This is the dashboard for one of the customers. The customers can quickly sort the videos by the most positive or most negative, for example, and then filter them by the type, by the scenes found in them, and by the demographic of the people inside the videos. So this is an example of the detailed video page with demographic reports. We also detect visual content as questionable or explicit for brand safety, and also detect full language. Vyrill can detect, we detect celebrities or any person really a brand may want to follow and track, and we notify when we find those in the videos. We launched with major brands in CPG, cars, beauty, and airlines. Thank you for your attention. And please do ask me a question later if you have some questions. Thank you.
Wow, that was 0 seconds remaining. That was perfect. So one of the things I realized is I actually didn't introduce the judges at all. So do we mind if we take a pause before they start grilling you, that we grill them? So Vin, do you want to start us off and give us a brief background of why you're here? Lina?
So I'm Lina Karam. I'm a professor at Arizona State University in engineering. So I might seem an outlier in here, but actually I believe that things we develop in academia should be built not to stay in the lab, but to go outside and impact societies and improve human experiences. That's why I collaborate heavily with industry on R&D projects, technology transfer, and also, furthermore, I initiated 2 innovation awards. The first one in 2016, it was the world's first Visual Innovation Award. And this year, I initiated the Multimedia Star Innovator Award. It's going to be held in conjunction with an IEEE conference in China, and we have 4 finalists. So it's along this. So I'm really happy to be here.
Do they have a gong?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Hi, John. Hi, everybody. My name is Derek Meyer. I've been an affiliate of the Embedded Vision Alliance from day one, but this is the first time on the panel. Happy to be here. I guess maybe one of the reasons Jeff asked me is that I've had some experience lately doing fundraising as the now former CEO of Wave Computing. So I perhaps may have some commercial related experience.
That's congratulations. Okay, now with that, time for the questions. Could we get 6 minutes on the clock, please?
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation, and congratulations. I see that you already have some profits. You mentioned that you have already generated 100K in profit. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
My question to you, where do you see yourself, your strategies for further growth? What are your strategies and plans for further growth in this area and attracting clients?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the CTO, so it's not my really, but yes, sales, of course, and marketing. The technology is really general enough that we can easily expand to other verticals, fashion, for example. So the algorithms really don't depend on that. So we feel we're pretty sure, we're pretty ready to expand in terms of product verticals. We do need, to grow our sales team. We're still a small company. We are 15, of which 9 are engineers for AI here. And so we do need now to expand on the sales and marketing.
So building on that, Barbara, can you talk a little bit about the team around you?
Yeah, of course. So my background is really in NLP, natural language processing. So I have a PhD from UC Berkeley here, and I studied natural language processes. So that's what brought me actually to Vyrill. Then we have Koninika Patil here. Actually, is our computer vision engineer. So she works on demographics, for example, among other things, how to detect demographics from all the people in the videos. And then we have another computer vision engineers, another machine learning and computer languages, 2 front-end engineers, and then 5 back-end engineers from the engineers. Then we have one sales part-time, 1 marketing. And we actually started by bootstrapping and now slowly growing. Yes, we have interns in the summer from universities. We collaborated with the machine learning group at UC Berkeley. They have fantastic group of kids, the students that just want to learn about startup. And so they work for us on some projects. So we try to get help as we can.
If I can, clearly you have a lot of insight into the market and the application and the target customers. That's clear. One of the questions I have is, how do you protect your differentiation against competitors? Do you have patents, or how do you ensure that others don't get this great idea? And
patents, and then just being we've been there already for over 3 years, so it takes a lot of time to get the data, label data, training the algorithms and building the products, and so time and patents and the in-house knowledge. Our team, actually, I'm very proud of that. We've been together since for many years now. I mean, since the beginning. Most of us have been there from the beginning, even in a very competitive environment like a Silicon Valley. So we really own, a combination of all this above.
So,
So Barbara, maybe you can talk a little bit about what a typical customer engagement looks like, because one of the things that it seems it might take is a while to get to the point where you can start producing value. Is there a long training process, or how long does it take from the time you engage with a customer to the point you can deliver value?
Oh, excluding sales, the sales process.
Of course,
right?
but I mean, so customer signs a contract. How soon before you can start delivering value?
Weeks,
one
day?
Months? One day.
No, yeah. I mean, what we only need from the customers is a list of products that they want us to track for them. So they give us an Excel files. We upload Excel files, and then the algorithm starts discovering videos. So in one, that's as easy.
So can you talk a little bit about your business and who's running your business models? Because you talked about your team with engineers and so forth. Who's your business person? Yeah,
I mean, the CEO, AJ Bam, he has extensive knowledge. He actually had a startup in the I'm blacking out on it. But he worked on e-commerce before, and so that's the main person around the business models. He currently actually also runs sales with a couple of part-times. Persons.
So what's your target rate of customer penetration adoption? How many customers do you want to service a year from now?
Yeah, so we need to as many as we can. Actually, we just launched. I think so. With the first customers were for hair products and automotive, and it did take a while to also optimize the reports. So we create reports for them. And so also the part of the language processing is detecting the topics. And so it took time to optimize topics and reports for those verticals. And now we have 4 or 5 verticals, and I think we can add as many customers as we can find, honestly. We also just launched a second version of the product, which we call VIP, which is Vyrill influencer platforms. So it's essentially, we started from products, and we find videos about those products. But in the process of doing that, I mean, we gather a lot of information about influencers. So now we have a lot of information about the videos about over 1 million influencers. And so we're using that as
It's that time. Barbara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is fantastic to hear about. It is a challenging market, and it's a great opportunity. I ran a similar business using consumer reviews for years. It is awesome. Great. Thank you very much. Next up. You ready? All right. We got 3 minutes on the clock.
Thank you all, and good afternoon. My name is Austin Miller. I'm from Robotic Materials. I'm an engineer. So the company was founded by Nicholas Carell with the goal of general object manipulation and automation. advancing that market. So let's just start off with some cool videos demonstrating some of our capabilities. This includes assembly, restocking and retail shelves, object-facing mobile manipulation. So the end effector there, the red end of the hand, is our product. That's the Robotic Materials Smart Hand. We started shipping a beta product to research universities and research groups in industry in December. Okay. So this is our product. We chose to put the vision sensor in hand for a couple of reasons. Multiple perspectives being the one. So you can get close up to objects, and you can also take different views with in hand, as well as calibration issues. So with external sensors, calibration becomes a huge problem. So vision is really the key component of object manipulation. That because if you can't find an object, there's no way you can pick it up, and there's no way you can insert it into something or place it somewhere else. So you really need to know your environment. So vision is key. We use the Intel RealSense depth camera. This gives you point cloud data as well as IR images. So we take full advantage of edge computing. We have NVIDIA processor inboard on the hand. All our image processing is done on board. We think that this provides a lean system that's easily scalable. We also take advantage of cloud computing. We're doing machine learning on segmentation. So doing that in the cloud just makes sense for speed and performance. All right, so we're currently funded by the NSF. And we are looking to continue our testing in stores, which will hopefully bring about funding, either through retail stores themselves or through other robotic manufacturing companies that are looking to get into the retail market.
Thank you so much. A lot of bad dad jokes around this, but I'm now going to just hand it off to the judges instead. So please go ahead.
So Austin, tell us how you make money. Do you charge for the unit? Do you charge for software, for services?
Yeah.
It's kind of question number one, and I'm going to sneak another one in. How does this thing draw power? Does it get it out of the robot arm, or do you have your own power source?
All right, great questions. That's right where I left off. I went way quicker than I thought. So how do we make money? So we can either sell the standalone unit to a retail store or rent it to them. So at $12.50 an hour per worker, working 24 hours a day, we think the return on investment is about 4 months for the whole system, evaluated at around $35,000. The second question, where are we getting our power? So any of the mobile applications where we're on a cart, we are using the power supply of the cart, so lithium-ion battery. But if it's a stationary, then we just use wall power.
So one question is, could you elaborate more on your target applications, target markets, and clients?
Yep. So through the SBIR grants through the NSF, we're required to do a customer discovery process. And through that process, we identified the retail market as our main vertical, primarily for the scalability. So if you can solve one retail store, you can implement in any retail store across the country. It also suits well for our technology being in a environment that's constantly changing with humans. So your system needs to be safe, which is our second SBIR, working on a robotic skin with an array of sensors to detect collisions.
I'll jump in. A lot of big companies build equipment. How do you differentiate and how do you compete against those companies over time?
Yeah, so we're not looking to compete against the automation industry that are building machines. So our product's never going to produce products at the speed and efficiency of these large machines. That's why we focus specifically on markets like retail, restocking, where you need a lean system. You can't set up 100 external cameras. You can't customize things to however you need. It needs to be a user environment.
If I can ask one, what's your team size look like today?
We have 5 employees, CTO, Nicholas Carell, CEO Scott Thomas, and then 2 full-time engineers, part-time engineer, and a healthy supply of interns from the university.
So I heard you said the business model is basically sell or lease the equipment. Is there a recurring revenue stream that comes along with that, or is it basically a one-time revenue opportunity?
So I'm not quite sure on the details, and I'm not sure that we've worked those out yet. I think our CTO has a more developed plan on that. Obviously, if you sell the robot outright, that's a one-time cost, whereas if you can reoccur software upgrades maybe, or inventory management software. So we've looked into that, working with those companies or developing our own to, realize what products are in store.
So, one question is about human factors or usability or deployability. So this needs to be deployed in the retail thing. So how easy? Do you have to train people to deploy it, or just like you throw it there, it works? How could you comment on that? How usable it is?
Yeah. So we strictly program in Python. So from a deployment standpoint, that makes programming extremely easy. We actually open source a lot of our software, so we get input from the community on making tools easier to use. We have graphical outputs as well to help tune parameters for objects. So if you need to recognize a soup can, there's an easy process to set up. Recognize a soup can, what parameters, what machine learning do you need to do to find that soup?
You said you started beta in December. How many sites did you start? Do you have under beta, and what's been the feedback thus far?
So I think we have 5 beta customers at the moment. Again, mostly research in industry and research at the university. So we're really just starting to get preliminary feedback from the gripper product. We're also going, it's not our main vertical, but we're also advancing the gripper sales. So as like some injected revenue from that, working with Universal Robots, they're the arm supplier, to get into their, it's called the UR-CAP program. So we'll get a lot of sales from that, but not the primary focus.
Are there safety-related issues? What happens? Can somebody hurt themselves with this thing?
So the idea is no. So I'll wrap up quick. So we use a mobile cart, off the shelf, collaborative, meant to be around people. The same with the arm. And then we're adding the additional layer of our skin, which will make it completely collision-free.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. From viral videos to fronting shelves in your latest retail store, now we're moving to low-light environments. Like this stage up here, actually. I'm going to pass this to you. Well, please welcome up BlinkAI, and Bo's going to talk to us about what they've been doing.
Great, thank you. I'm Bo from BlinkAI. Over the next few years, cameras are going to continue proliferating into a variety of devices and vehicles in multiple growing markets. But one of the biggest pain points universally is that most of these cameras are going to be weak in low light. That's because sensors are getting smaller and smaller, resulting in less light intake per pixel, ultimately giving us noisy, poor quality images. And these poor quality images and video frames are increasingly directing critical computer vision systems that have real life implications. So here's a frame from the onboard video of the Uber autonomous vehicle car crash that happened last year. And because the cameras couldn't see the pedestrian in the dark, the object detection system failed, as per the NTSB report. So what can we do about this? Well, we can either increase the amount of light coming in by going to more expensive and larger camera sensors and lenses, or we can do more with the information we already have, which is what we do as humans with this amazing process called perceptual learning, whereby our brain trains itself how to interpret the raw neural signals that are coming in from the retina. That's why biological vision is so incredibly efficient. So our technology, AutoMap, recapitulates this process into artificial neural networks onto the cameras. So we dramatically improve the performance of any digital imaging sensor by 3 to 5-fold. We published the fundamental aspects of this research in Nature last year, and since then have received significant attention in the scientific community as well as in the media, and now we're commercializing it at BlinkAI. So here's a quick demonstration of what we can do. So here's a default JPEG coming from the Galaxy S9 Plus of a dark 0.5 lux scene. The same exact raw data with BlinkAI achieves far better results. Now, in comparison to things like Google Night Sight, where they essentially merge multiple frames over the duration of a couple seconds to achieve one output image, our proprietary deep learning solution enhances each individual frame with real-time inference speed, which means that we can be used for real-time video. So here we have a default video of a scene. You can't even see it right now, taken on the S9 Plus. But again, with the same raw data, this is what BlinkAI is able to do. And now if we overlay just a state-of-the-art object detection system, kind of a generic YOLO v3, what we see here is that just by enhancing the image, without actually changing anything about the perception pipeline, we achieve superior object detection. And here's a scene very similar to the Uber self-driving car crash, where you can't see the pedestrian on the right of the light here because of the dynamic range. But at BlinkAI, we're able to do single-frame HDR, and the pedestrian is easily visible. So in conclusion, we have a proprietary machine learning platform to maximally extract imaging data in low-signal environments. We're compatible with upstream and downstream parts of the processing, low-cost computation instead of expensive large sensors and cameras, and we're there in multiple growing markets that desire this improved low-light imaging performance. So thank you very much, and over to questions.
I know 3 minutes is really tough, but y'all have been doing a great job of staying with it because I don't get to hit this out often, so that's great. Judges, he's all yours.
Okay, so one question to you. How close is this technology to the technology you publish in your Nature? And thank you for publishing stuff, by the way. That's kind of very rare to see from companies. So can you tell me first that? And a follow-up question, maybe after that.
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. So I think we get this question a lot because if it's a critical piece of the information that's sort of public and disclosed, then how easily can competitors kind of follow up with that? The really interesting thing is that this technology actually came out of an academic research lab, and as a postdoc at Harvard Medical School, I published this. And the really interesting thing is that it came out from medical imaging research. So we were looking at how can we lower the CT dose or shorten the MRI scan times, right? And so the paper primarily addresses, and when we look at the sort of technical details of the neural network architecture and the training details, they're all kind of geared for that particular purpose. And so even though the fundamental kind of thinking and paradigm is sort of similar, when it comes to the actual details of implementation, you really can't get that. And in fact, so we have all sorts of patents that are pending right now within BlinkAI. So we have a suite and a portfolio of our own patents that are specific to cameras that are not out there.
So in your application, as a follow-up question, is you're talking about true image reconstruction versus guessing and things like that. And for the color, for example, you're showing the color is getting reproduced, and it's a sensor limitation. At low light, for example, we cannot reproduce color as humans.
Right.
So I'm wondering, are you trying to use some colorization in there? So which is also, how do you quantify the true image? So the true image reconstruction, how do you quantify that? Because when you have dark, you can't see the color, the sensor did not get it. aren't you guessing there to get the colors?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to kind of address that question. The first thing is to sort of validate that we actually are getting the colors accurately. We have standard, IMA-test charts that we use. These are ISO standard, things. And so we show that actually we get far better, delta E color accuracy metrics. So the lower the better, and we're like 2 times lower than your traditional ISP. And we also show improvements in visual SNR. And there are other metrics that we use to sort of validate the ground truth of what we're doing. In terms of sort of, specifically on color reproduction, you're absolutely right, cones and rods, and our visual system, that acts a little bit, differently in real CMOS, imaging sensors. And one of the things you'll see is that in low light conditions, your phone or whatever, typically you won't get that much color out because, the system just isn't confident enough to reproduce that color. And without going into all the details, our neural network system is able to basically disentangle the noise from the signal. Instead of a typical denoising module on an ISP, for example, which may have tens or at most maybe 100 different parameters to tune, our neural network has hundreds of thousands of parameters. And so with all those free parameters that are finely tuned to particular imaging modules, we're able to achieve our performance. So we train up a different network for each camera model that comes out. So Sony IMX, whatever comes out, we'll train up a model. Doesn't take that long. Takes a couple days actually to get these results.
So how far are you from product, and what's your monetization plan?
Right. So we're a B2B business as we currently are instantiated. And so licensing right now is our primary business model. We are engaged right now with very close to kind of signing a POC with a tier 1 automotive supplier. And we're in very serious talks with some smartphone suppliers as well, OEMs.
So, Bo, there's a reason why sometimes it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And some people actually don't want to be seen in the dark.
Right.
So I presume there's a way to turn this thing off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's up to sort of the end user in terms of when they want to turn it on and turn it off. We just try to do the best we can when the client wants it.
Is there a way to control different parts of the scene to be seen so that, or can you process things afterwards or does it have to be done as the image is captured?
This is a software solution that's sort of flexible in terms of when you want to deploy it. So for kind of real-time, autonomous vehicle driving, let's say, where it has to be real-time, sure, that's when we'll do it. This can also live on the server, right? So, even better because now you're unconstrained with, your power limitations. And so we can also do post-processing of videos as well. So for the security camera space, for example.
So when I come home and I want to know what the kids have been doing, I can go back and figure out what was happening in the dark.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And I guess how much computational power does this take beyond, and not only computational performance and power, does this add to a basic platform?
Yeah, so, I think that's one of the most important, things we do actually at BlinkAI, because there's a lot of solutions out there that can kind of get pretty close, but they use very computationally expensive sparse coding methods or extremely deep convolutional neural networks. Our solution, runs 30 frames a second, pretty low power hardware. So, I won't really give numbers here, but we're, it's quite low power in terms of the inference speed and everything else. Yep.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go from how do we see more with less to how do we actually manufacture extra pixels with less pixels? This is going to be really interesting. So the arc here, as we continue with Vin's theme of being specifically vague, that question was, wow. All right. So Dwight, the floor is yours, and you've got the clicker as well, and you've got 3 minutes in which to wow the audience as we lower the lights even further.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Dwight Linden. I'm the COO of Entropix. And Entropix is better vision for computer vision. Computer vision craves resolution. The more pixels, the better. But we often trade off and are ready to accept lower resolution in exchange for reduced cost in hardware, bandwidth, and storage requirements. Higher resolution cameras can cost at least 10 to 20 times more than regular HD cameras. And when you look at an enterprise scale of thousands of cameras, that can be millions of dollars more in the infrastructure bandwidth and the storage required for the petabytes of a few short weeks of data. Computer vision is not like human vision. Human visual perception requirements are dramatically different. Despite that fact, the vast majority of cameras manufactured today are still based off of the human vision paradigm. And let's face it, human vision is not very good, especially compared to what a computer is capable of seeing. When Bryce E. Baer of the Eastman Kodak Corporation filed his patent for the Baer filter array back in 1976, he colorized our world, but he did that at the cost of stripping out nearly 90% of the photonic energy of every single pixel by assigning an R, G, or a B. In addition to that, there are several other processes that degrade the image quality via sensor sampling, lens blur, demosaicing, denoising, color interpolation, data compression. Entropix uses conventional dual sensor cameras, commodity dual sensor cameras, and is able to learn those degradation models via AI and neural networks and reconstruct the original image back out to 9 times higher resolution than what you started with, and only on the parts that are of importance to you. We call that resolution on demand. In computer vision, accuracy matters, and Entropix provides an invisible layer of increased resolution to improve that accuracy. We can work with almost any vision data analytics programs or services that there are. Here, Vision Labs is able to detect the faces much earlier and match them at a much higher rate, all while reducing its back-end load processing. In traffic and smart city applications, in this example, we identify the make and the model of the car much earlier with a much higher confidence score. We can be used in a wide range of commercial and industrial applications. Likewise, with low light sensitivity, we can provide much better results in extreme and poor lighting conditions. We can even help you improve your emotional and behavioral recognition analytics. Our core market is the security and public safety market, who from 2000 to 2015 installed nearly 500 million cameras around the world. In the past 4 short years, that number has doubled. By 2028, there will be more remote monitored cameras worldwide than there will be people on Earth. But we're not just limited to that vertical. Any smart video application can benefit from our technology. For the VCs out there, we're starting a Series A this summer. And based on the track record of my 2 co-founders, who both have over a decade of experience in the surveillance and video industry.
And no more time to talk about their experience.
It was worth trying.
Appreciate it. All right, y'all have been obviously very busy, and I'm sure you'll get to share more as the judges ask their questions. So go for it.
So just to make sure I understand, so it's a 2-camera solution, and your monetization is you're selling the whole camera.
We're a software company, but we're a hardware-enabled software company. We do need 2 sensors, 1 color and 1 monochrome, and it's important that that second sensor be monochrome because that is the sensor that has not been stripped out of all of its data. When you think about how colorization happens, from what I mentioned about the Baer filter array, that removes so much data, and from a computer vision standpoint, that's just thrown away and you can never get that back. So we use the monochrome as a foundation, but then we run it through our AI, our neural networks, in order to reconstruct the original image back out 9 times. But we're a software company. We're only making our own cameras at the very beginning because of the fact we need to seed the market.
So reference implementation, other people manufacture it. The software runs on the camera or remote?
It depends on what type of camera you're manufacturing, such as one of our partners called Boulder AI. They're building a dual sensor camera that's based off of Tegra TX2. And because of that, that's basically a computer running on the camera itself. So you can do a certain amount of the processing on the edge. But our core business model is based on having it up in the cloud because we provide you 3 areas of benefit: lower cost in the hardware on the camera end, lower bandwidth requirements, and the majority of your data storage is for lower resolution imagery. You're only post-processing what it is that you want when you want it.
So one question, so how does this compare to the AI-driven single image super resolution techniques that are out there? So,
excuse me, sorry, sorry for cutting off. Those are basically based off of trying to improve the appearance of the image for human consumption. So you have a lot of trickery that's going on there. So after you get past a certain point, you're either starting to hallucinate or add synthetic pixels, which from a computer vision standpoint doesn't provide you the type of data and information that you want for accurate analytics. So what it is that we're doing is we're doing real reconstruction. We're not doing this to make the human eye be more pleased because it looks nicer. We're doing it so that the data that's being fed into the computer vision system can provide much better analytics and results on the back end. And so the fact that they're still using color sensors, to go kind of to better answer your question from a different way, they're still using color sensors, which have already started out with that negative of having 90% of their photonic energy stripped out from the very beginning. They've already started out at a significant disadvantage. By the fact that we have the monochrome to begin with, and we have all these other additional reconstructive methods built into the pipeline for the neural networks, we're able to give a much better result that's sort of the true image as opposed to something that just looks good for the human eye.
So not to be disrespectful, but it seems like you're a one-trick pony.
In what sense?
You've got one really cool thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, can you build a big enough business with that one thing?
Well, as I mentioned, my two co-founders, which I didn't get to go into as much as I wanted, are from the security and surveillance industry. And from that standpoint on itself, that's a low-hanging fruit for us. And that is something that the industry is very much in the interest of getting. They're already very familiar with multi-sensor cameras. And this provides them additional benefit for what can be of real benefit to them. It allows them, like I said, lower cost hardware, lower bandwidth requirements, and lower storage requirements, all while providing them a 9x result on only the things that are of interest to them. So when you look at the vast majority of people that come to us that are not in the security industry, there's a wide range of verticals that we'd never even thought of ourselves.
Okay. All right. So your expectation is that you can embed this technology in many other products down the road once you get past the basic security and surveillance system. Because it seems to me like once you get a licensing fee or you get one check from some company that is doing security and surveillance, there's no kind of recurring revenue stream after that point in time.
Actually, ours is a recurring revenue model. We're licensing our software. We're providing that resolution on demand as a recurring business model. So they're paying a yearly subscription for either per camera, per GPU, or per server. And so we're providing them that resolution on demand in our cloud or in a local stack. So we have that recurring revenue model. But we see ourselves as just being an invisible layer inside of any smart video application. So it can be in the video, in the security and surveillance, but in reality, it can be just as easily installed in retail, in automation, in robotics, in barcode scanning devices.
And how far are you away from a product?
We are currently doing a proof of concept with a major mobile phone manufacturer, but we already have of our own products. We already have two that are in the pipeline for release this summer. One will be ready at the end of July, which is a dual sensor 1080p camera. And then the one that I mentioned with Boulder AI, which will be ready at the end of the summer, which is 12 megapixel with a Tegra TX2 on the front end.
So just wanted to mention, like super resolution by kind of definition is trying to predict the true image because it's a restoration, not an enhancement for the eye. Given that, basically, that's trying to predict, and when you're saying you're trying to do true image reconstruction, how do you quantify that? What metrics are you using? Like to say that you stagnate in the true image, because you're predicting also, whenever you use machine learning, you're trying to predict also. So You're trying to predict the value, but how do you kind of quantify that predicting more closer to the true value? What are the metrics that you're using?
Part of that goes into our secret sauce in our patent, so I won't go into that too much. There's a certain amount of processing and learning that goes on, as well as training, but part of that is a much deeper question that our CTO could answer. But
unfortunately, the CTO is not here today.
He's tough.
Dwight, thank you so much. These questions can sometimes get really, really deep. So we've gone on quite a journey today. If you think about it, we started online with viral videos and user-generated content. Then we went to retail stores to make sure that all the soup cans are facing the right direction. Then we've gone to the dark side with BlinkAI. Now we're looking at smarter cities. Where's else to go but up? So Ravi's going to talk to us what they've been doing at Strayos, which is things are looking up for him as well.
Thank you.
You've got 3 minutes.
this building we are in, or the vehicle you took here to get here today, or probably in every one of your pocket, there is a smartphone, all rely on one common thing, mining. But the mining of the raw material, which requires to build smartphones like tin, you need tin, or the vehicles, you need batteries. One critical component is drilling and blasting process that happens on the mining side every day. Mining is an old, archaic industry. Currently, it's about 28% less productive, and then 7% incidents that happens, yearly basis, and large fatality rate. So there is no automated technology there which collects the data, better mines the raw material extraction process here. Currently, how the drilling and blast design data extraction process works is basically a bunch of engineers set up laser scanners, walking up and down the cliff, collecting data using these low-range scanners. It takes roughly about 2 days to survey and collect the data, and you have to stop the operations. You basically cannot move other operations around, so you're stopping and losing the productivity. It also increases the safety concerns and environmental impact if you don't design the raw material extraction process right. The other problem is unidentified lines, utility lines or pipelines, which are buried under that, either mining site, either they are non-existent, or either the maps which are out there, they're not accurate enough. So you can use ground penetrating radars, but it only tells what's there, but it doesn't tell how far it is. Again, unexpected delays occurs in this site. What we do is Strayos is a 3D visual AI platform. We take the data directly from the job site cameras and the sensor data, including the drill machines. We onboard it together and build a process where we combine the 3D imagery data and the geotechnical data of rock mass to tell them where to drill holes, how deeper it needs to be, and how much amount of material is going to get generated in a much more accurate and proper form, so that they are generating an accurate amount of raw material with no operational downtime, and also the increasing of the safety there. You can see this here, which is showing and telling them how far they need to drill, and what's exactly the hardness and softness of material is, and how effectively the material process is being carried out. Currently, we are in 8 countries where our customers are. We are commercial from last year, and then we are also integrated directly at the OEM level, at the drilling, where our data communicates directly as it's getting drilled real time, and the rock mass properties are determined. Done. I'm ready for questions.
Great.
So 45 countries, 45 customers, 8 countries, how much revenue?
So roughly we're in the range of $80K per month.
And how many people?
We are 11 people team. 11 people mostly coming from the background from AI, computer vision, and the machine learning. We do have a drilling and blasting specialist who spent about 30 years in the industry. So we have patents around that, the drilling process side.
So do you have liability issues? I mean, if you tell people where to put dynamite, do you ever get sued as a result of getting it wrong, or is that something you're concerned about?
Yeah, so we don't bear the liability. We are not actually replacing the geology engineer or mining engineer. We are making them more productive and effective and more accurate about their whole drilling process. So they're using the AI to get the data that they previously didn't have access to. The drilling already providing how the drilling process should be, but they're not getting those data. Now they have much more better understanding when to stop, when to start again based on the rock mass or hardness of the material.
So one question for you, what are the target applications or markets? And you have currently clients, and you have different applications and drilling?
Yes. We started with mining because this is one of the industry where directly there is a lot of demand for the application. The adjacent industries will be oil and gas, and then the pipeline digging, basically laying down large pipeline industry. as well as the construction segment, the built vertical, where they are looking underground to do the proper excavation and the foundation. So pre-construction process where the earth moving types of operations are there.
From a commercial standpoint, do you lease or sell the product or do it as a service?
So we sell software as a service, AI as a service, basically. They get us the data directly, either online stream, they stream directly from the machines. Or we have, from the OEM side, we license the technology so that there is no friction from the job site perspective. The data comes directly to us where the customer pays a subscription service to us.
So what about the hardware component? Because you need sensing, and you mentioned, I believe, drones at the point in your application.
Yeah.
So are you also selling this, or do you expect the client to get those and you retrofit those with your solution?
Yeah. So we are totally focused on the software side. We don't care what type of camera systems it is. We do recommend a hardware solution when we onboard the customer. Most of the time, customers are choosing their own platform, own hardware platform, and the drilling sensors, they already have the camera and the depth sensing systems that we can directly onboard the data from them. So it's mostly a combination. Either if they don't have it, we recommend them, or if they have it already, we just integrate with their own hardware system.
So can you talk about how you build competitive differentiation? Why wouldn't somebody else come along and do this and take your place?
Yeah. So the drilling and blasting, it's a very, domain, deep domain knowledge and expertise industries are there. My background is in the IoT data machine and the imaging side. We have team members who kind of, taught in universities about the drilling and blasting, and they spent a number of years perfecting the geotechnical algorithm that we can take and apply onto the imaging side of the story and combine and, basically predict better where to, drill and what's the kind of the hardness and softness, impacts the material generation process. So that's our core IP. So it takes a lot of, years of geotechnical experience that we have, developed in those algorithm process. So it's not that easy to replicate.
And can you talk about scale out? So 45 customers now, how many in a year, and how do you need to grow your team in order to service that?
Yeah, the great thing about if we just talk about the mining industries, the mining sites are there for, let's say, if it starts, it stays there for 50, 60 years. And we have seen zero churn so far. It's still too early to say. But these typical big mining companies, they have operations all around the world. So it's kind of land and expand kind of, process here. So we start with like one region or one site. And then usually internally, we upsell into the same organization. So in North America, there are roughly about 9,000 mining sites are there. And then it's owned 20% by bigger mining corporations, and then roughly 80% is distributed. So it's again the land and expand kind of selling process.
Did you also comment impact, whether you can predict impact on environment, or maybe there is an anomaly and it's going to avoid and prevent any crisis or
yeah, so the data that's been getting generated, it helps them control the vibration after during the drilling process time. So if you have controlled the vibration, you have controlled the noise part, as well as during that, you are also controlling if there is any vegetation around the mining site. You are also understanding better this extraction process will impact the different species or natural communities or not. So it's not a direct application, but the data has been utilized by the site managers to also look basically more deeper doing that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
That was perfect.
Hey, Derek.
I hope you've been having a blast. Sorry, I waited 15 minutes to say that one. Our judges will now be, some of you are now cringing, and I'm sorry. I'm a dad. I make dad jokes. Deal with it. The judges will now deliberate for the next few minutes as they try to figure out who gets the top prize. But I need your help in the
Can we go
audience.
offline on this?
Because now it's your
Are we
chance.
in the back, Vin, or we?
So, y'all aren't deliberating into the microphones, are you? Okay, good. Didn't we have a president do that one time? Anyway, so text to this number, these codes. And just to kind of do the quick rundown, remember BlinkAI did the low light, Entropix did the dual cameras to actually pull more information, the 90% that we lost. Robotic Materials put the stereoscopic vision on the end of the gripper so you could do interesting things in retail. Strayos we just heard from about mining, surveying AI to do, make sure you have a blast. And Vyrill, of course, is the user-generated content curation to help companies figure out what's being said where, given all the content that's out there today on the interwebs. Okay? So do us a favor, please vote once per person. We have no way to count hanging chads, and we will not have a revote or recount, as the case may be. And now we're going to see the results. Let's see. Remember, those are the codes. And again, there's the number. We're seeing this happen in real time. Huge thanks to Brian for setting all this stuff up so I can be just easy slide monkey, as the case may be. And if you see your favorite company kind of going down in the polls, don't tweet it out, please. We're trying to keep it in the room. If you put this on video, Vyrill will find it and they'll hunt you down. Definitely see some clear trends coming into play here. So all 5 are great presentations. You see why all the judges picked these 5 out of the 49 for the ones that you heard about today. Each one has pushed the envelope in their part of the industry in what we believe is an industry in an important way. There are different stages of evolution. Some have first prototypes, some have more than one customer, but all of them are poised to make an impact in the industry that we're all here to celebrate for the last few days. Judges, how are you doing? I'm gonna go peek on them, make sure they didn't run away. Did you get beer? Yeah, I think the judges left. No, I'm teasing. Please get your votes in. Just a few more moments. Appreciate the hold music from the AV team. Oh, yes. And in addition to the important thing of voting, the other almost, maybe even more important definitely in Jeff's eyes, please take time to fill out your evaluations for the Embedded Vision Summit. Every year, the team works really hard to make sure that your time invested in this community is paid back tenfold. And the more you can share with us how this experience was this year, the more they can use that information to make next year even better. Okay? There's some clear trends here, but after the experience in politics the last few years, I don't want to count anything yet until we get the final results. And it'll be interesting to see where the judges come into play as well. Part of when I see these kinds of competitions makes me want to think about if you mashed them all together, what would that look like? And it makes me go to really interesting places, right? Imagine if you had crowdsourced reviews of Campbell's soup in low light situations to help read the nutrition ingredients so you could figure out which ones to use to serve to the mining team after they finish blasting. That's one. We need another one? Let me think. What else could we do?
That's next.
Do we have a verdict?
We do.
Do you want to share it with us?
Well, the reason it took so long is everybody's product looks really quite interesting, and it's a set of trade-offs, right? At the end of the day, we're looking for who's got the most interesting business opportunity, who's got the most interesting competitive differentiation. We went back and forth quite a few times, and the winner is Strayos.
Strayos,
Yeah, because
fantastic.
We felt they had the most complete path to a business at this point in time. They have a significant amount of vision technology in their product, and we think it's interesting to blow things up. So
you had a blast too. Okay, good. Fantastic. Wow, thank you, judges, for doing that. Fantastic. Congratulations, Ravi.
That was our number 2, by the way.
Thank you, audience, for being smarter than the judges. Or no, I'm not saying that at all. So also, congratulations to BlinkAI for being the audience favorite. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And thank you, audience, so much for participating with your questions. Actually, didn't get asked questions. With your patience. And I know all the presenters will be here for a little bit afterwards if you have questions for them. First thing I guess we're going to do is present these enormous checks. Jeff, do you want to, where would you like to start? Would you start with the audience choice or? Start Strayos. Strayos, Ravi, come on up. So not only do they get this enormous check that Wells Fargo will laugh at you if you bring it in, they also get a year-long membership to the Embedded Vision Alliance. Okay, good. I nailed it. Okay,
Before we
great.
finish, I would like to mention that actually Vyrill was number 3. And by the way, it was very difficult to decide between 1 to 3. They're all really very good technology. So that's why we stayed in the back. Anybody could have been number 1, but we later decided who has the more complete package, you know, but they are so close. So number 3 was Vyrill, and 2 BlinkAI, and number 1.
We won't talk about number 6. They're not here.
Thank you.
Great. With that, thank you all so much, and we'll close off this year's Vision Tank. Please go forth and celebrate.